Hi and welcome to topic 2 of influencers on business. I'll be talking through for the GCSE WJC Business Studies course. So it's quite an important topic. There's quite often exam questions around influencers on business. I'm just going to talk you through the main sort of points that seem to come up quite a lot on the exams. I'm going to start with how changes in technologies affect businesses. So that's where, you're talking about your online, your internet, how advances in technology is starting to affect businesses. AI will be starting to come up soon as well. We're not going to go massively into AI, however, we are going to sort of look at CAD, CAM and things like that. So how does it affect business? Well, it enables businesses to create new products. It's allowing the use of new methods of production within the workplace, and it changes the way in which goods and services are actually bought. So the use of online and the internet. So technology and new products. So this is an increasing proportion of products being bought by UK consumers are based on developments in technology. Products such as smartphones, self-drive cars and curved screens are wanted by customers. And to be a successful business, businesses must meet those customer needs. And the rapid change in technology means that businesses have to be prepared to develop new products continuously and actually go with the trend of how people are buying those products as well. So looking at technology and new production methods. So businesses sell fewer products from shops and villages and towns and cities now. It's very much online. And you'll notice that obviously, big high street names are kind of falling by the wayside really from towns and cities. Consumers are using primarily the internet to buy the goods and services or to compare products and compare prices. And a large proportion of shopping online is carried out using latest smartphones, so not even on laptops anymore. It's via your smartphones. Whether you want to get something from Amazon or whatever it might be, you tend to order it on your smartphone and not necessarily a laptop or a computer. Many businesses have established websites to sell products. So if we think about the big retailer like Debenhams, they've closed all of their high street shops, and they are purely they sell online now. So they were a massive big impact on the landscape, if you like, of cities and towns and their actual stores, which were quite big stores, disappearing off the high street. And so your retailers such as Amazon and ASOS only sell online, and they have, especially since COVID, been a massive sort of game player in the online selling market. So technology and change, some developments in technology could revolutionise entire industries. If we think about AI now coming into the forefront, and there are certain industries that could be completely reliant on AI. If you think about, architecture, for example, and design, and the fact that AI can do a lot of that, it is a worry that that is obviously going to potentially take over those industries over the next 10 years. The development of efficient battery technology could see huge growth in the electric cars, and making sure that, the government's promise of, I think it's 2035 now, is it? Might be a little bit later, where they want to be only selling new electric cars that is completely sustainable. So this is going to clearly have enormous impact on businesses manufacturing of cars. Oil companies, for example, BP could experience significant drop in demand for oil, petrol and diesel as a result. So they're obviously going to have to be thinking about how they can actually move with that environmental change. So we look at computer-aided design, okay, and what that is. So it's allowing designers to produce new products using 3D models displayed on computer screens. So, these are massively used in design elements like kitchens, bathrooms, where you actually want to see what it looks like in your home before it's actually made. And and it kind of will help you design your ideal kitchen, ideal bathroom. There's lots of companies that do it with like sofas. You can actually put it, design your sofa in the space as well. So what are the advantages to that? Because sometimes there is a question about computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing, and it's quite often the advantages and disadvantages to that. So reducing costs and improving quality are the main benefits, but there are a number of different examples. So it speeds up the design process. You're able to edit things really easily, quite simply, move things around, which is really advantageous. If you were drawing that out, for example, you'd probably have to start over again, which is something that's unhelpful. Certainly in architecture and things, CAD is very good at being able to change things and change the elevation of a certain roof pitch, and then you wouldn't have to actually start drawings over again. Alternate designs can be considered. Again, simple to edit. You can test things out, see what it looks like. If you don't like it, you can change it really easily. Producing drawings of finished goods and parts. No need to actually build models anymore or prototypes, which obviously reduces your costs and speeds up the whole process. You're able to view the goods before manufacture to find out the best design, improving the quality, the accuracy of the design. Testing materials and design to reduce errors and reduce costs, and you can also link it to CAM, computer-aided manufacturing, to speed up production. However, disadvantages is the cost of setting up the machinery, the training of the workers with regards to CAD. So computer-aided manufacturing uses computers to operate robots and other machines in the production lines. So, you can link it to the CAD, so it speeds the whole process, measures easily transferred to manufacturing process. You've got less scope for errors in production, more accurate, and allows standardized quality and greater customer satisfaction. You can use it in mass and flow production, and it's able to speed up, and it's cheaper. You need fewer employees, so that's going to be lower wage costs, less supervision needed. However, the disadvantages are it is pricey to obviously set up that whole setup, and you've got possible redundancy of unskilled workers. Also got the reputation of the business if you are making redundancies because of machinery taking jobs. So things around purchasing materials using e-commerce, so that's buying on the internet. So the advantages and disadvantages of buying on the internet and using technology to do that. You can see images of the products, you can compare many products. You've got prices, and many sellers can be compared on one computer. You've got no need to travel to suppliers, so costs save. You can pay online, which saves on bank charges, maybe cheaper because you're selling at a lower price. They may not have any overheads compared to like a high street shop. You're able to shop around as well and find out the best deal, compare prices. You've got a wider choice from many different sellers. You might be able to get it cheaper, and you can actually order it 24/7. So if you wanted something at 10 o'clock at night, you're able to order it there and then. Obviously, you wouldn't get it straight away. Disadvantages, though, is goods not inspected. So when you get something through, you're like, oh, well, the quality isn't as good as I thought it would be, or it's not the size that I thought it would be. So obviously looking at things like the height, the width, make sure that it's something you're expecting, because sometimes they look bigger on the images than they actually are. As we say, images might be misleading, so it's difficult to judge the quality of something. You maybe got delays in receiving goods. So if you have, you're relying on obviously a logistics delivery company, it might also be depending on what time of year it is, you might end up with getting delays sort of near Christmas compared to many other times of the year. You've got possibility of fraud. So if goods are not sent and you've paid for them, maybe it's a fake website, scam website, you've got that potential. You've got maybe technical issues, and then convenience easier than possibly having to drive miles to purchase the item with regards to that. Okay, so another technological is the use of digital and social media, and sort of, using your devices like your laptop, computers, tablets and smartphones in order to involve in digital media, which is like your email. So companies will email you, text, web chats, teleconferencing, apps or applications, and social media is a big part of advertising now. Businesses have far more contact with customers than in the past. You've got things like reviews that come up quite a lot on social media. People are going to check those things, and to be able to, as a business, sort of interact with your customer is really important. It's resulted in businesses appointing people to actually manage their social media. So managing a business's portfolio and social media is vital to maintain a good reputation. And businesses, whatever size, can use social media. Large businesses can use it and look at keep huge numbers of customers aware of important developments. And small businesses can also use it, a good way of promoting their services to potential customers at a lower cost than maybe TV advertising would be. Digital and social media and business objectives, you've got the using digital and social media to become vital to many businesses to achieve their objectives. Now, some enterprises have created new business models based on the use of digital communication. So like Uber is an example of business which uses digital media as a central part of its operation, and it can provide vital information to managers to improve decision making. So, managers can look at trends over time, showing effective marketing campaign. They can help predict the number of customers at different times of the year. They can help achieve profit targets by maximising sales and keeping costs down. And they can do that all through sort of digital and social media. So now I'm going to go on to business ethics. This is quite often a longer answer question sometimes with regards to your exam. So what is business ethics? Well, it's whether a business decision is thought as to be morally right or wrong. It's not necessarily whether it's illegal or legal, it's about a moral stance. And in business, ethics are the moral values that direct businesses' behaviour. Now, ethical business is one that considers the needs of all stakeholders when making business decisions. So we think about stakeholders, we think about customers, we think about employees, owners, local community. That is all being thought about. And an ethical business, when setting objectives, take into consideration its social responsibilities as well. Ethical businesses consider the moral rights and wrong of any decision that are made. And stakeholders such as consumers, employees, shareholders and people who live close to the business may ask questions such as, are suppliers paid on time? Are employees treated fairly? Are they paid well? Is child labour being used in overseas factories? Are customers made aware of the materials used to make the product? And is the business's advertising truthful and fair? Are its products harmful? Now, if you are basically advertising yourself as an ethical company, it's going to be really important that you are very truthful towards those questions, that you are treating employees fairly, that you are very aware where your products are coming from. You need to make sure that every part of your business is ethical in order to class yourself as an ethical business. So being ethical involves being honest, trustworthy, fair, caring, respectful, lawful and accountable in there. So the issues below represent some of those faced by businesses. So ethical marketing, so dealing with suppliers, animal rights, welfare, social responsibility, treatment of workers, fair trade, and making sure you have ethical policies in place to become an ethical business. So if a business takes a decision to behave ethically, it may be that its profits will decline for at least the short term. Ethical decisions often make it more expensive to run a business. That's because it's more expensive to get maybe those ethical products. You're obviously paying your workers maybe more. You're making sure you're giving a fair amount to suppliers, etc. any of these ethical decisions can mean lower profits, and using environmentally friendly resources or fair trade products, providing employees with high quality training, offering low price products to certain groups such as maybe pensioners, and acting in a socially responsible way by taking into account the needs of all stakeholders when making decisions and not just the shareholders. So when we think about that, you know, shareholders, likely their main objective is maybe to make sure that they're having the most profit. Now, if you're thinking in an ethical way, you need to be thinking about everybody in your business and also outside of the business, so how you're behaving. You know, are you paying your workers fairly? Are you offering them good training? All of which will impact on profit, because that all costs money. So looking at ethical reputation, so it can really attract a large number of customers, even though the prices might be higher, because people maybe want to feel that like they're doing something for, you know, the greater good, if you like. So like Ben & Jerry's ice cream, for example, is very popular, and partly due to the business making well publicised ethical decisions, and it makes sure that it publicises those. Now, some businesses benefit from offering good wages with high quality training. This helps them attract the best quality employees and motivates existing workers, and actually maybe people want to actually stay with them for a long time, which obviously saves them money in the long run. Now, businesses that are seen as behaving unethically can suffer from real bad publicity, and this can be damaging to a business reputation and reduces its sales and profits. So if you are saying that you're an ethical company, it needs to be really important that you are an ethical company through and through. So one of the things that you might be asked in the exam is to evaluate whether or not it's good for the business to have such ethical policies. And you might be given a scenario. You might not, you might have to just talk about it generally, but generally they'll give you a scenario that you kind of have to base it around. Now, so advantages of being an ethical business is that you can benefit from improved worker morale. So this is good for employees. It's a nicer working environment for employees. They feel that they're treated fairly, that this then might lead to actually lower people being absent or sick, and that then leads to maybe a lower turnover in labour. Showing concern for producers in third world countries and looking at fair trade products. Now, fair trade products is basically that all fair trade products are giving fair amount of money to the people that in third world countries that maybe produce those, like the cocoa beans, for example, for the fair trade chocolate. They are given a fair amount for their cocoa beans and not just minimal amounts. And that's why you would pay more for that fair trade piece of chocolate than you would maybe a non-fair trade. So it's important for the image of the business. You know, you can market it, you can commercialize it, which is then going to maybe lead to a increase in sales. You've got maybe consumer pressure, that they are becoming more aware of ethical issues and they want to be more ethical themselves. They want to maybe feel good about themselves when they're buying products and they're giving them money to companies, and they feel that they're doing their bit. You've got pressure groups, so it's less likely to give unfavourable attention to businesses. You've got maybe premium prices for ethical products, which is going to increase your revenue. And then it matches your beliefs of the owner. So if you as an owner are really interested in being ethical, it is going to be matching your beliefs. Now, disadvantages to it is the fact that it does cost more to be an ethical business. You know, you've got maybe distribution of unsold food, increased prices of fair trade goods, impact negatively on your profit margins, and it does cost obviously more. It's difficult to be ethical because you need to take into consideration miles, transportation costs. Are they sustainable? Is it sustainable? Where is the products coming from at the source. You know, if we think about clothing, where is the material coming from? Where is the cotton coming from? Is that from an ethical source? And you have to go and make sure that that is ethical. Staff issues such as training, supervision may be required. You've got problems with customers, bad publicity if they find that you aren't ethical but advertising yourself as ethical. You've got price for trade goods, and then packaging issues. So, you know, in order to be an ethical company, you're really thinking about the environmental impact of your packaging. So you need to make sure that your packaging is as environmentally friendly as possible. You've got ethical policies in different industries. The advantages of ethical policy, perhaps the greatest in industries where businesses sell similar products. So becoming an ethical helps a business differentiate itself from maybe its rivals, and this can make it more attractive to the consumer. Now we're going to go on to environmental. So, you know, to be an ethical business, it is important that maybe you are environmental as well, but you can be environmental with maybe without advertising yourself as an ethical business. So what is the environment? So the natural world in which we live in, and it's the landscape and its natural features such as seas, rivers, forests and mountains. We've got a few keywords here. You've got external costs, which arise when a business activity results in harmful effects on other people not directly involved in production. You've got finite resources, and those are which only limit the amount that exists. So you like your coal, your oil, and you've got climate change, and this is the long-term shift in the planet's weather patterns or average temperatures, which obviously there's big concerns of at the moment with how humans have impacted the climate. So what is sustainability then? So this is referring to the methods of production which can continue long term without actually damaging the environment. So sustainable production methods include like using renewable sources of energy, such as solar and wind, means of transportation that does not cause pollution, so looking at electric vehicles, avoiding using finite resources, and using recycled or renewable materials, and producing goods and services without the use of chemicals. Now, the environmental costs of business activity there's a few different things. So you've got traffic congestion. The average driver actually spends 124 hours in traffic jams travelling to work, and this causes huge amounts of air pollution and causes enormous external costs. So there's a lot of businesses that are certainly for flexi working, doing some days at home, who obviously help with this as well, with the traffic congestion. You've got noise and air pollution. You've got agriculture. Research has shown that the majority cause of pollution in Europe is nitrogen fertilizers and animal waste. You've got manufacturing industries, so air pollution by emitting gases during the production of goods. You've got transport, cars and lorries emit huge amounts of pollution gases, as do aircrafts, and are quite noisy. And then you've got power stations, and many power stations in the UK use coal to generate electricity, and this causes huge emissions of carbon dioxide. You've got the use of finite resources, so if businesses take the decision to produce and buy finite resources, problems can occur in the future. And then you've got looking at climate change caused by factors such as cutting down rainforests, using fossil fuels, and use of agricultural fertilizers. We're going on to the economy now from looking at the environment. So what is the economy? Well, it's made up of 1 million of individual consumers and many thousands of businesses and governments. And all these people and organisations take decisions on what to buy, sell, produce and import from overseas, where to work. And altogether, the actions and decisions taken by these individuals and organisations decide what is to be produced. Now, the economic climate refers to the state of the economy. It considers whether the economy is producing and increasing or decreasing quality of goods and services. Now, providing customers with falling or rising incomes, experiencing a rise or fall in the amount that consumers can spend on goods and services, and providing more or fewer jobs for people. So if you look at what unemployment is, so your definition of unemployment is exists when someone is looking for a job but is unable to find one. Now, unemployment causes problems for consumers, businesses and government. Now, for consumers, reduction in the income, they become unemployed, resulting in fall in living standards and that stress of finding a new job if businesses are not recruiting, and then social and emotional effects of being unemployed. So that's on the actual consumer. Businesses, the fall in consumer incomes result in a fall in demand of their goods and services. Financial problems if they are a small business or a business who with no little savings retain profit. And then the government, a fall in revenue from income tax. Income tax is what you pay when you work. There would be a fall in VAT because people aren't buying as much, and corporation tax because businesses aren't paying as much because they're not selling as much. And again, this is an increase in welfare payments, and this is less income and more outgoings. So unemployment for everybody is not a good thing. So looking at some keywords here around the economy, you've got consumer spending. So this refers to the value of goods and services bought by consumers over a period of time, usually a month or a year. Income elastic products. So these are products whose sales are sensitive to change in consumers' income. So if, the more disposable income you have, the more income elastic products you might buy. Unemployment rate, so the number of people who are unemployed as a percentage of those working or looking for work. You've got the employment rate, and this is the percentage of people of working age who are employed. You've got the economic climate, and we just discussed. This is the state of key factors within the country, such as the level of goods and services produced, and the number of jobs available. And you've got something called income tax. So this is tax that a person pays on their income, and it must be paid, and it's statutory. It's deducted from the person's wages. So each person has income tax allowance, and income up to this amount in each tax year is tax-free. Now, the effect of an increase in the income tax paid by customers, less income for people, lower disposable income, they have less to spend, so businesses sell less, which then makes less profit. Businesses sell cheaper goods, may sell more and earn greater profit. Some businesses may not be affected more than others, and some may not be affected at all. So maybe businesses that are like supermarkets that sell necessities like bread, milk, etc. They might not see any kind of dip in profit. Taxation, should have done that all before really, but this exists when the government require payments from individuals and businesses based on factors such as their income or spending. Income tax is one of the taxations. You've got direct taxes. This is taxes that are paid on income or profit, for example, income tax, that's called a direct tax. And then an indirect tax is paid on spending by individuals and businesses. So, for example, your VAT, if you may have heard of value added tax, it's in with the price of something, so you don't actually maybe know that you're paying that. You've got corporation tax, so this is tax on company profits. It's made before shareholders are paid their dividends, and the tax is calculated from the net profits earned by the company. So the effect of an increase in corporation tax paid by business, this is retained profits may fall. Businesses may increase prices to compensate for the increase in tax, but then the sales revenue may actually fall or rise depending. Less money to invest, pay out to shareholders, and this may affect share price. This might lose your shareholders, and more tax paid by the business. This could leave the business with less overall profit. National insurance, this is your individuals to pay these contributions in order to pay for the state benefits, including the state pension, the NHS, unemployment benefits, sickness and disability allowance. And then your VAT, which is your value added tax. This is indirect tax, and this is on purchase of goods and services, and the standard rate for VAT is 20%. So on top of when you pay for your Cadbury's chocolate bar, whatever it is, there will be 20% added onto that where you won't know. So if, say you're getting charged £1 for a chocolate bar, 80p is how much the chocolate bar is. It's 20p on top of that, which is your value added tax, which is your VAT. So, impact of closure of a business on the local community. So there are negative and positive impacts. So environmental benefits, so that you've got maybe less traffic in the area. So you're going to maybe have less litter in the area because there's not going to be many people going. Other businesses may be attracted to the area, and then benefits to other businesses, for example, a bigger pool of labour. Negative effects, so are your job losses. You're going to have less footfall in towns and cities if businesses close in the local communities. You know, businesses like, for example, cafes and restaurants that maybe rely on that passing trade, that's going to be affected. Local businesses may have to find supplies from different businesses. Your government is going to lose out on income because there's not going to be as much corporation tax being paid, or that. Local people, customers travel further to a store. Less competition choice, which is bad for customers because prices might rise. And then your visual appearance. So, you know, if you're going to a town or city where half the shops are shut, it doesn't look good. It looks very empty, it looks quite depressing, and people aren't going to want to visit that place. We're going to look at international trade now and sort of selling goods abroad. So the definition for international trade is selling of goods and services across the world. So that is your definition for international trade. Now, advantages to selling abroad and doing international trade are the fact that you've got a bigger, wider market and you can increase your brand awareness. You've got economies of scale. So because you're selling more, you're able to maybe buy in bulk, which then brings your unit price for each item down. The wider range of customers, various market segments that you can get into, and also the exchange rate could be favourable, which would then mean that you would get more profit. Disadvantages, though, that you're going to have higher transport costs, which could be a problem, because that's going to obviously affect your profit. You've got language barriers, problems in trading. You've also got maybe that you need to actually translate labels, maybe instructions into different languages. You've got currency conversions. Paying more for less. Costs of different laws, customs that you need to actually make sure that you're paying. Maybe you've got lack of knowledge of the foreign markets. Maybe you don't know what's in fashion. Maybe you don't know what, you know, for example, Germany, what would sell well in Germany. Maybe you've got problems of getting paid. You've got trade barriers, and you've got competition from foreign firms as well that maybe already sell in those areas. So some key words with regards to globalisation and international trade. You've got imports, so these are goods and services that are bought from producers overseas. You've got exports, and these are goods and services which are produced in one country and sold in another one. And then you've got tariff, the tax on an import, and it's usually expressed as a percentage of the import price. I'm going to look at now multinational businesses. So just because you sell internationally does not mean you're a multinational business. So you need to have businesses with their headquarters in one country, but which operate in other countries through their offices, factories and shops. And a company which just sells goods abroad is not a multinational company. So advantages of being in a multinational company is that you're well known around the world, and that it's easy to compete on foreign markets. You've got economies of scale. You've got low production costs because the wages in other countries might be cheaper. You can take advantage of the exchange rate movement. You've got tax advantages, and then you've also got removal of trade barriers. Disadvantages, though, the size of the business, and it's difficult to manage. You've got language barriers still. You've got laws in other countries that obviously you're going to have to abide by. You've got the exchange rate movement. Again, it might go against you from one week to another. Lower morale of home workers, feel that you're going abroad to just get cheap labour, competition from domestic businesses, and then you've got also negative public image that you're moving the business abroad, therefore you're not investing in the UK. Another key word around international trade and multinational businesses is globalisation. Now, globalisation is the increase of dependency of people around the world as a result of increased trade and culture exchange, and it's led to an increased worldwide production of goods and services. So if you think about the fact that we have the internet, we have really easy travel now, we've got phones, we've got things that connect the world together more than they ever have done. You know, if we think about 30 years ago, it would not have been as easy to be a global business as it is maybe today. So it's all of those things that allow businesses to be a globalization. Benefits of that, you've got greater access to foreign markets, you've got a wider market, you've got the UK can import goods and services that it needs easily with less restrictions on trade, and the UK can access specialist skills from other countries. Now, the drawbacks to that is that the UK struggles to compete on cost of manufactured goods, because it can be imported maybe cheaper from elsewhere. The UK suffer from unemployment, and the UK is subject to international laws of trade. Okay, so we're going to look at some legal responsibilities around business has to its customers. So businesses must make sure that the customer environment is safe, that the condition of goods must be fit for sale, fit for purpose, and as described. You must have a description that is accurate for businesses, or else they can be prosecuted, and weights and measures must be accurate along with ingredients in items of food. So this is the consumer legislation, the Consumer Rights Act in 2015, and this law provides consumers with clear rights and protection when buying goods and services, and it states that all products sold to consumers must be of a satisfactory quality, fit for purpose, and as described. So product quality, returning of goods, repairs and replacements, and delivery rights. You've got Consumer Protection Act in 1987, and this prevents firms from selling dangerous products to consumers, and it makes a business liable for any illness or injury to consumers caused by their products. So it's really important as a business that you are providing safe products. We've got consumer laws, and these are introduced to prevent businesses from treating the customers unfairly. Businesses can treat customers unfairly in a number of ways: by selling goods and services that are not described, by selling products that are unsafe, by selling products of poor quality, and by selling information about consumers to other businesses without their permission. And obviously consumer law stops that from happening. You've got the Consumer Credit Act in 1974, and this law stops a business charging very high rates of interest to consumers if they take out a loan when buying expensive products such as cars. It also allows consumers a week during which they have the right to change their minds about the agreement of the loan. So if they felt they were pressured into it, they have that cooling off period. You've got intellectual property. So this is property which cannot be seen or touched, but is a result of a creativity of an individual or group. And this can include business names or the names of the brands, inventions, for example, new type of battery, the design of a business product, books, paintings, music. Just as good need to be protected from theft and damage, intellectual property is protected by patents and copyrights. Now, quite often businesses will put clauses into the employer's contract that basically anything that's thought up within business hours or working for them is the company's intellectual property right. So that's obviously something to think about. Copyright, so this describes the rights of the writers and artists to have their work. When you think about music. You've got the Advertising Standard Authority, ASA, and this is a self-regulated organisation that aims to regulate the content of advertisements, sales, promotions and direct marketing offered by businesses in the UK to ensure they are obeying the Advertising Standard Code. Now, they monitor and control marketing by investigating complaints about ads, sales, promotions or direct marketing and decide whether such adverts comply with their code of conduct. Patents, and this gives its holder the right to be the only user of a producer or of a new invention for the stated period of time. And then you have employment law. So these are laws protecting the rights of employees, which must obey by the employers. So this is employment law. Now, a contract of employment is a legal document stating the hours, rates of pay, duties and other conditions which a person is employed. Now, the contract of employment should include details of things such as rate of pay, length of holidays, normal place of work, and details of the business pension schemes. You've got protection against unfair dismissal. So this is dismissal takes place when the employer ends an employment contract of employment with the business. The dismissal can be fair for a number of reasons. The job might no longer exist, because an employee cannot do the job properly, because maybe long-term illness, maybe gross misconduct, for other substantial reasons such as employment has been made, the employee has been sent to prison. Okay, but you know, it can't be made against anything discriminatory, so maybe age, gender, sexual orientation or anything like that. National living wage is the right to a minimum wage, and this is where, you know, UK companies can't really compete with some countries like China or Taiwan or places like India where they don't have this. So it's an hourly rate of pay set by the government, and all employees above a certain age must receive at least this rate of pay. Then you've got the Equalities Act of 2010, which makes sure that no discrimination in the workplace. So discrimination is treating one person differently from another without having a good reason to do so. So it's maybe on the basis of maybe their age, maybe they have a disability, maybe gender reassignments, marriage or civil partnership, religion or lack of religion, sex, gender, sexual orientation, pregnancy or maternity leave, race, ethnic background and nationality. And it's to make sure that people aren't being discriminated because of those things. Health and Safety at Work Act. Employees must ensure that they safeguard all their employees' health and safety and welfare at work. And the Act covers many business activities such as installation and maintenance of safety equipment, providing protection against dangerous substances, fitting guards on dangerous machinery, writing and displaying a safety policy. And the Act also requires employees to follow all health and safety procedures and take care of their own and others' safety. So legal responsibilities a business has to employers that they must ensure work environment is safe, that employees do not work over the working hours under work time directive. They've got a contract of employment, you know, unfair dismissal, then not doing that. They have rules that must be followed before anyone can be dismissed. They've got equality laws on gender, race, disabilities, promotion, treating employees fairly. They've got minimum and living wages, which is based on age, that companies are providing some sort of pension and ensure employees have the right to time off. So that is the end